Located in southern Asia between India and Burma lies Bangladesh, a country slightly smaller than Iowa. It is located on top of many deltas that formed from Himalayan rivers flowing down from the mountains. This led to extremely fertile land that is ideal for agriculture. In fact, more than half of the population makes a living off of the land in agriculture, growing rice, the country's main export. With a population that is nearly 170 million people, almost 90% of whom are of Muslim faith, and in a small area, it should come to no surprise that population control is a bit of an issue. As the ninth most populous country in the world, with 80% of the population living in poverty, the Bangladeshi government started to worry about the social and economic stress they could experience in the future. Bangladesh was concerned about its population from the beginning. When it was still an eastern province of Pakistan, the government tried to enforce a strict family planning program in the 1960s. It was met with heavy backlash and eventually led to the government collapsing and Bangladesh becoming its own nation. Now free to make its own decisions, the new country started planning its own family planning program in 1971 that would work without political conflict and end in success. At the time, the average number of children a woman would have was more than 6. Not only was this a threat to the country's economic and social development, but it could also threaten the mother and her children's health. With multiple pregnancies taking place within a short amount of time, it could hurt the health of the mother by having a lack of access to quality health services, and it could hurt the baby through poor nutrition and developmental challenges. This is where family planning takes on an important role and where the government steps in. The Bangladeshi government knew it had to inform the public about family planning immediately. There were several obstacles they had to overcome if they wanted their plan to succeed. The first was the lack of information about family planning and birth control. The second was the lack of access to family planning and health care services, especially in the rural areas. The third was the belief that large families were ideal and women had a low social standing. These 3 obstacles are common for many developing countries trying to lower their total fertility rate. But what Bangladesh did to address these problems made them extremely successful. To help get information about family planning and birth control out to as many women as possible, the government employed 25,000 young women, and multiple non-governmental organizations supplied Bangladesh with 12,000 workers. These workers were called Family Welfare Assistants, or FWAs. The FWAs were trained to visit homes and offer contraceptive services and information, as well as healthcare services. Each FWA was expected to cover between 3 to 5 villages, roughly 850 women, and visit each house at least once every 2 months. These women, and some men, proved vital to the program. It provided young women an opportunity to get an education and have a job, something that they would have never had the chance otherwise. It also showed that outreach programs work and are impactful for a multitude of reasons, from eliminating geographic isolation to cultural practices restricting a woman's mobility. The FWAs also forged a link between the government and rural women. This allowed policymakers the ability to take a look at what life was really like and how to improve the program for rural women. With FWAs reporting back, the government realized they needed to build clinics in rural areas to better assist women and also have a variety of methods available for a variety of needs. The clinics were originally built for basic family planning services, but eventually expanded to include basic maternal and child health services. The variety of methods available ranged from condoms to sterilization services. Giving women the ability to plan their families also gave them some power within their family. They were given the opportunity to choose different plans that worked best for them, allowing them to make decisions about their life and the future lives of their children. No government program is ever cheap. After all, nothing comes free. The program itself was estimated to cost about $100 to $150 million a year, with a half to up to 2/3 of the money coming from external donors. It is estimated that the program will cost an additional $10 million each year to maintain standards and to accommodate the increasing number of women who would take part. Normally, countries would balk at the idea of spending so much money on a single program. But for Bangladesh, they looked at it without blinking an eye. To them, lowering their population is the highest priority, and they are willing to spend any amount of money. There are a few external donors that are helping Bangladesh. The biggest one is the ICDDRB, also known as the International Center for Diarrheal Disease Research Bangladesh. The ICDDRB is an international organization that was originally made famous for their research in diarrheal diseases and developing and implementing oral rehydration solution. Starting in 1978, they expanded their research to address major public health issues such as malnutrition, vaccines, and health systems. Maternal and child health became an important aspect of their research, and they jumped at the chance to help out with this program. The ICDDRB helps provide FWAs, distributing contraceptions, and answering any questions women might have about using contraceptives. Another large donor is Ganoshatya Gendara, also known as GK. They are the largest health-focused NGO in Bangladesh, mainly helping distribute vaccines to pregnant women and children to prevent maternal and infant mortality. These external donors are encouraging to look for a more cost-effective way of running the program. Having a large number of FWAs, which is how the program has been running since the beginning, is expensive. It costs about $18 per birth averted. So far, the most cost-effective way is providing an integrated package of health and family planning services, costing about $13 per birth averted. By 1991, almost all Bangladeshi women had knowledge about modern contraception. Between 1975 and 1997, the number of married women who used contraception increased from 14% to 70%. Fertility rates decreased from 6.3 births to about 3. From 1973 to 1996, primary and secondary school enrollment increased by 3 times and 5 times respectively for girls. Employment for women increased and traditionally restrictive practices ended thanks to global communication and mass media. Overall, this program was extremely effective. It reached all of its goals, informed women about contraceptive options, increased the use of contraceptives, and lowered fertility rates. This was all accomplished by 6 factors: communication between husbands and wives about family planning, the desire for children, women's education, women's employment status, access to mass media, and the availability of family planning services. As successful as it sounds, there is still room for improvement. The question of a more optimal and cost-effective outreach strategy has yet to be answered, and an expansion to provide a broader set of reproductive health services has yet to appear. There are still remote areas in Bangladesh that have high total fertility rates, and education and income opportunities still need to improve. As a whole, there is a lot to be learned from this case study, especially for other developing nations. The one thing that has remained constant is that when implementing a family planning program, governments need to seriously consider the culture and traditional practices. Creating a grassroots system to encourage self-sustainability is key to sustaining the program and getting people to be more accepting. Cooperation between the government and NGOs yields better results as more resources are available, and women have more decision-making power, especially when they have income to contribute to the household. Empowering women and giving the chance to make their own decisions improve life for everyone.